Welcome to Unabashedly Blunt, where we discuss trends and technology that impacts the automobile industry. I'm your host, Chuck Schmidt. Today we'll be discussing digital service videos and how they're becoming the new normal in service departments. This video is primarily aimed at technicians and not management or service advisors. That said, let's get going. So, digital service videos that come to your service department. Lucky you! How did this whole video thing get here to begin with? Did your dealer principal go to a 20 group? Was this a OEM manufacturer's program that's been mandated? Maybe this is a service manager's new idea. Well, let me guess, you're not a fan, are you? Well, hold on a second. Let's talk about this. Why do any of us come to work? It's to make more money, right? And make more money. And make more money. Money for things like houses. Money for all the toys that we all love. Vacations for our family. Maybe even that next tattoo. But how do we make that money? We make that money by cars coming into the shop. Many cars coming into the shop. And hopefully, many more cars coming into the shop. A full shop is a happy shop, right? None of us want to see empty bays. There are many factors that impact the number of vehicles that come onto your service drive in the morning. Some of these are inside your control. Some of them are outside your control. So let me level set you here for a second. These are a few of the things that you may or may not be aware of that impact the amount of cars that show up on your service drive. The first is the seasonally adjusted at annual rate. The second is service retention. The third is sales loyalty. The first is the SAR, not the czar, the SAR. This is a big fancy name for total vehicle sales inside the United States. As you can see on the chart, you can see that this ebbs and flows as a cycle, and some of these cycles can be quite long, 5 years or longer. The cycle we're entering now, it's not necessarily positive. This means there are fewer cars being sold, which ultimately means fewer cars being serviced. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out how that could possibly impact you. Next, let's talk about service retention. Think of your customer base as cars on an expressway. Customers get on at year one. And year one, it's pretty good. A lot of cars are coming in, customers are staying with you, all your lanes of traffic are filled. Life is pretty good during year number one. Well, look what happens at year number two. Suddenly, there's an exit ramp, and customers are leaving on the exit ramp. They're leaving for Jiffy Lube. They're leaving for Valvoline. Well, that's okay. We still have enough customers in our lanes of traffic coming in, so we're heading off to year three. Well, when we look at year three, what's going on here? Wait a minute, we have a lot of traffic leaving in year three and not too many people heading to year four. What the heck? What's going on here? Well, there are a couple of reasons. Number one, for many vehicles, the manufacturer's warranty has just ended at 336. But secondly, this is when a lot of dealers tend to pull out the 30K service, the big service. And that scares off a lot of customers. It scares them right away to Midas, Meineke, and Firestone, and places like that. And they love your 30K service. Why? Because they don't have a 30K service. They don't have that big expense hanging over the customer's head. They look like a hero. So a lot of your customers, they get a little bit of sticker shock, and they exit at year three, and they never come back. So what does year four look like? Well, year four is almost like a ghost town. There's not much work left at year four. And year five and beyond, it's much, much, much worse. You just learned what service retention is all about and why it's important to you. Remember, happy customers are critical to retention. Informed customers make happy customers. Trust is the number one key to retention. Service retention declines with every year, and as you can see on the chart, as dealer retention goes down, dollars per RO goes up. So when customers really start spending money on their vehicles, they've already left the dealership network. They've already gone into the aftermarket. The real money to be made in repairs lies beyond year three. That's why it's critical for us to hold on to every customer we have, especially those who are going into year three. Next is sales loyalty, and that's probably something you guys don't think a whole lot about. You better hope your sales team is selling a lot of cars, because customers have a choice. And when they're ready to buy a new car, they have their choice of either staying with the current brand or defecting to a different brand. If you have poor retention and customers not buying vehicles or choosing or defecting to another brand, guess what you are? Insert any word here you want, but you are definitely... Next up is service marketing, or service marketing strategies, I should say. There's a group of dealerships out there, they've got everything dialed in. They know exactly what they're doing. They know how to use the internet, keywords, they know how to use their mailers, they know how to stay in touch with their customers. They're using all the technology out there. The only problem is, this is only about 5% of our dealerships. The next group, they have one lever to pull, and they pull it all the time, and it's the oil change. Customer buys a brand new car, give them an oil change. Customer's angry with the service department, give them an oil change. Service traffic's a little slow going into the service lane, let's discount the oil change. They're not very creative, so they don't use all the tools available to them other than the oil change. This makes up about 80% of our dealer network. The next group, well, these might be the smaller dealerships out there. These are the dealers that promote service advisors to service managers or move a tech from a technician to a service manager position. Through no fault of their own, they don't have a strong background when it comes to marketing. So they really don't know what to do. You're really a slave to whatever shows up at the service department door on a daily basis. You have no idea. And this makes up about 10% of our dealerships. So I know what you're saying. Well, wait a minute, that doesn't add up to 100%. No, there's one more group of dealerships, and oh boy, it's these guys. What a hot mess this is. For those of you working at one of these stores, good luck. Now back to digital service videos. There are many vendors out there. And why? Because OEMs want this. And why do the OEMs want this? Because customers like it, and they're telling the OEMs that through surveys that are coming back. Customers love it. It helps to build trust. And don't kid yourself with all the press that's out there right now regarding digital service videos. The independents and the aftermarket, they're beginning to get on board. They've noticed this trend. And like it or not, this is the present and the future. This isn't going to be something that goes into the past. This isn't just a fad or some little short-term trend. No, this is the future of service departments. So back to you. I don't do videos. You don't pay me to do this. I'm a tech, not a YouTube star. I quit. I've heard all of these complaints. I think I've covered all of them here. But remember, and this is where I live up to the title of my show, guys, the grass isn't always greener. Remember what I told you. Only about 5% of those dealerships out there are really dialed in when it comes to service marketing. They have full shops all the time. And you know what? A good portion of them are already doing digital service videos. And let's be honest, going to another dealership, you're not going to be the chosen one in a new shop, no matter what you think. For the 5% dealerships, even the 80% dealerships, that guy is already there. You're going to be giving away important things like accrued vacation time, seniority, status. Let's say you have 2 stalls now, a lift and a flat. Maybe you're not going to have that in the next shop. Those are things to consider before giving them up. And as I said, video is quickly becoming an industry standard. You're going to be forced to do this at some point. And remember, this is an opportunity to make more money. And guys, you're missing it. All right, now slow down for a second. Let's sit here and talk. Let's listen to reason. There's some things I want you to consider. How many of your ROs with suggested work are edited by service advisors? Much of that work is never presented to the customer because of a predisposed bias by service advisors. Oh, this customer doesn't have enough money. Oh, this customer never buys anything. Therefore, they never present the work. You might turn in a ticket with 6-8 items on the back, and a lot of those items are crossed off before the call is ever made. They're never presented to the customer. So all of those opportunities are lost. Video eliminates this. All the needed work is presented directly to the customer through the video. There's no editing. There's no opportunity for these lines to be taken off the ticket. Now, before you go crazy here thinking about this, remember, being honest builds trust. We've been doing vehicle inspections for as long as anyone can remember. Video is simply a visual version of the inspection form. The difference is there's no pencil whipping, and we all know what that is. We've all seen that done where a line is just drawn down the inspection form. Instead, video shows an honest account of the true condition of the car, and that condition is then presented to the customer. Now, making the video is easier than you think. Just have a plan, just as you do with the multi-point inspection form. Lay out some of those key items on the vehicle and take pictures of them. The cabin air filter, the air filter, the battery tester, either the tester itself or the printout from the battery tester. And then use visual gauges to show the wear and tear on the brakes and on the tires. It's very easy. Remember, point out what's good on the car as well as what's needing attention on the car. Take your time. A well thought out video can be completed in about 2 minutes, so it's not the big time drain that you guys are thinking that this is. Now some tips and tricks. Remember, state your name at the beginning. This makes the video more personal. And time equals trust. A 15-second video does nothing for the customer or your ability to sell work. As a matter of fact, it breaks down trust. It doesn't build it. Take the time. Do the video right. Give your camera time to focus in on what you're showing. A blurry picture, that's not very helpful. Use a screwdriver or some other type of device to point out critical issues or leaks, things of that nature. Always use red, yellow, green indicators to show wear. Customers don't know what 5/32 of an inch is on tread depth. Is that good or is that bad? Yet these other types of instruments, it'll show the red, yellow, green. So it's clear to the customer whether it's good, whether it's bad, or whether it's just needing attention in the future. And remember, practice on a few cars before you send out your first video. Your first 10 videos, yeah, they're going to stink. They all do. They do for everybody. It's not just you. So here's the payoff. It's more hours booked. And how do you get the more hours booked? Because less work is declined, which means more money, right? If you're doing this right, the customer will see the need for maintenance over time as items shift from green to yellow to red. There's no surprises, no sticker shock. This helps to build trust. This is going to give you a returning, appreciative customer base. And finally, this builds a lasting trust with the customer in you. And that's why it's important for you to always add your name onto those videos, like I suggested earlier. That way you and the customer create a connection, and hopefully it's a lasting connection. So there you have it, guys. Digital video, it's not the big hairy monster it's been made out to be. You are not doing the service advisor's job as some people think. Far from it. All you're doing is the inspection. The advisors still have to do the work. Watch out for the bad commercials out there on this, especially from other techs. To the guys who say this doesn't work, I say show me your videos. I'm going to bet they're right around 15 seconds long. And don't be too hard on yourself making these videos. They don't need to be perfect. Far from it. But I will encourage you to stay clear of being a Charlie Chaplin and making silent videos. That doesn't work. No one out there likes the sound of their own voice, myself included. Tom Hanks hates the sound of his own voice, and he's done pretty well. Digital service videos is one of the best opportunities in a long time to increase sales while building trust with the customer. Give it a try, not just for a day. Try it for a couple of months. You'll see the difference in your paycheck. With that said, thanks for watching Unabashedly Blunt. I'm Chuck Schmidt. If you like this video and you want to learn more, please click subscribe. Thanks again. Unabashedly Blunt was produced by Two Noisy Beagles Media. Music by Laura Leaves and Offering.